What's your creepiest glitch in the Matrix or unexplainable thing that's ever happened to you? I've posted about this experience a few times now. About 2 years ago, I was driving up a short hill in the overtaking lane. I was attempting to overtake a particularly slow car. I was going far too fast. I absolutely knew this but was somehow fine with it. Then I had a burst of adrenaline and decided to accelerate even harder to overtake the car before the overtaking lane merged back into one lane. Sometimes I don't think I was successful. I think after I crested the hill, I was two abreast in the now single lane. A truck was in the opposite lane starting to come up to the hill, and I think I hit it at the right-hand side, the truck driver's left side, straight on, at considerable speed. I remember looking at the truck and thinking I'm going to hit it, but feeling that that's okay, everything is going to be fine. I think I saw the front of the truck hit and crumple the left side of my car, saw it come right up to my face then, for a second, nothing but black. A moment later, I was parked by a small factory-type building about half a mile down the road. I remember my skin feeling prickly and tingly, and I felt the adrenaline whoosh out of my body. I cut my journey short and just went home. Now, on occasion, things just feel left off center. The world just feels a little more gray and cold, and I mean that literally and figuratively. My family and friends seem absolutely the same, and I'm very happy in my life, but some things in the world just seem off. This seems absolutely ridiculous to say, but sometimes I'll be in a place and I'll get an odd, uncomfortable feeling, and then the place seems to flash to warmth and sunlight and happiness. It then goes back to the slightly off, grayer place. I see the same physical place, but for a while, it seems much more beautiful. I'll read an article or listen to the radio, and I'll think that that's not how it's supposed to be, so I'll Google it, and sure enough I was wrong. It's not all the time and it doesn't worry me. As I said, my personal life is the same and I'm happy. It's the outside world that sometimes feels so off and so wrong. I lived in a shared house while at university, and it was a freaking odd place. Things would go missing in plain sight and then reappear moments later. Not just small things like lighters but big things, jackets, plates, textbooks. We got so used to it we ended up accepting it. Everyone would leave the room for a minute, and when you came back in, whatever was missing would be right back wherever it last was. The living room had a sliding door that gave access to the hallway. We were poor students, so all the radiators in the hallways were always turned off, and we only heated the bedrooms and communal lounge, so that door was always closed. Most nights, the door would have a good rattle. We were all inner city kids and just put it down to passing buses. Until someone pointed out that we lived on a residential street, no buses, no trucks, and the underground tube trains came nowhere near the place. The neighbors came around one evening and very politely asked us to stop banging up and down the stairs late at night. That caused an uncomfortable moment when we apologized, but mentioned we thought it was them banging up their staircase. The weirdest moment was me in bed one night sleeping, waiting for my girlfriend to get back from a night out with her girlfriends. The bedroom door opened, and I felt the bedbow as she climbed in. I could feel the warmth of someone beside me, but it didn't feel like her. I rolled over and there was no one there. By this time, you just accepted weird stuff happened. It never felt threatening. I am a scientist and an atheist. I don't believe in weird stuff, but something was fleabing wrong in that house. I sometimes wonder if it was something to do with my then girlfriend A. She was named after an elder sibling who died young, before A was born. At times she was capable of the weirdest thing. I had long hair back then, and the part of London we lived in still had a culture of freak bashing. I remember someone starting to pick a fight with me in the pub one night. He pinned me against a wall and got in a few solid punches when A stopped him in his tracks with a calm statement along the lines of, "Listen, I know your mother left you when you were 6, and your grandmother brought you up. I know she died last month and you're angry, but this isn't going to make you feel better. She loved you, she wouldn't want you to be like this." I would always catch the bus at 8:20, but go to the stop 10 minutes before it arrives. Usually there would be about 4 to 5 people at the bus stop, and they would always be there. Every morning. I live on the outside of a bigger city, so there wouldn't be loads of people in the morning, but you could still tell it was a work day with lots of cars going down the road, pedestrians, etc. So this particular morning, I leave the house, and I had just been feeling weird. Something was off. I'm walking to the bus stop, 2-minute walk, and I see no one. Cars are not in the parking spaces, except my parents, no cars going down the road, no children walking to the nearby primary school, no nothing. It felt weird. I even googled for the date to see if it was a bank holiday or something, but no. Regular day. So I think whatever, I'm going to wait for the bus. The most it was usually late is about 15 minutes. At that point, it wasn't unheard of that they canceled the service. The bus has a very long line, so it really messes up traffic and scheduling. So I get there 8:20, no bus at 8:30, no bus at 8:35, no bus at 8:40, 8:45. It got to 9 before I thought, "Fleeb this, I'll just go home and wait for the next one," at 9:40. I get back home. Mum's home at this point after taking my brother to school, and she goes, "What are you doing home?" To this I say, "I was waiting for the bus, and it just never came. Thought I'll come home whilst I wait for the next one, rather than sit in the cold." She looks at me with a weird face and says, "What do you mean?" "I saw it go past when I walked your brother to school, at around 35 past, and we didn't see you at the stop." I was confused. Thoroughly. Apparently, they walked past my stop, but I saw absolutely no one. The bus shelter even looks onto our house, so there is no way I just didn't see them. According to her, there was also a lot of other children walking, as usual, and obviously didn't believe me when I said this. But I'm glad I'm not the only one who has experienced this. Swear I thought I was tripping mad. Then later on, the girl who goes to my school and used to catch the bus from the same stop also asked me where I was in the morning because she didn't see me get on the bus. Weird as heck. One day I was biking with my friends. I had to stop to tie my shoe. 2 of my friends went ahead of me, and the other 3 waited for me. I finally finished and got back on my bike, and we started to bike to catch up with my friends. We look ahead and see them make a left behind a strip mall. We bike over there to find that they aren't there anymore. We had no clue what just happened and we all agreed that we saw them. Suddenly, I get a call on my phone from one of my friends. He says that friend 2's phone ran out of battery, so they went back to his house to charge it. But the thing is, his house is all the way across town. I said, "How the heck did you get over there so fast?" Sounding very confused, he said, "When you stopped to tie your shoe, we biked ahead and went to friend 2's house." I didn't believe him and asked him to send a picture of them. He did. I started to freak out and say that we just saw you guys go behind a strip mall not even a minute ago. He said he had no clue what I was talking about and said just meet us at friend 2's house. He hung up and I told my friends what happened. They all were very confused too. We still have no clue what happened to this day. Definitely the weirdest and creepiest thing ever. So I was cycling to work at about 8 a.m. and there was quite a lot of traffic on the road. I stopped for a break in a bus shelter since it was raining and just sat there watching the traffic slowly moving, and eventually, I got bored and I couldn't leave since the wind had gotten worse and I would have been blown off the bicycle. I stayed there for what must have been about 15 minutes and the entire street just went silent. I looked around for a cause, but there was none. Then the weather suddenly became clear, and I don't mean the clouds went away to another place, they just stopped being there. In the space of 3 or 4 seconds, they just vanished. I looked back down and the fleeing traffic had disappeared. At this point, I thought I had been unconcerned or something, so I called an ambulance rather than risk this happening while I'm cycling. I got to the hospital and they checked me out and said I had nothing obviously wrong, but they wanted to keep me under observation for a while. I was amazingly bored there, so I checked my chart and it said it was Saturday, freaking Saturday. I was at the bus stop on Monday. 6 days of my life just disappeared. You know, I never believed in ghosts, not really. I mean, sure, I was open to it, but I'm the kind of guy who likes proof. I annoyed my teachers and parents to death by always asking, "But why?" I want a good, solid reason to believe something. But then I moved to Southeast Missouri and saw some stuff. 2 things stand out. The first was my roommate having scratches in groups of 3 appear all over her when there was no one upstairs but her and I, and neither of our hands were anywhere near her back where they were appearing. The house was definitely an unsettling place to live, and turns out, the original owner, a sick freak who touched a female relative, niece or daughter, record were unclear, was buried in the basement. He kept the girl in a closet and was very territorial of the house. I don't know how to explain it. That house has not had a steady occupant in a long time, though, and the owner has great difficulty renting it, despite a cheap price and great location. It gives off such an unsettling vibe. Always feel like you're being watched. Lot of weird things went down there, but that's the worst experience I had. I moved out shortly after. Nope, that noise. The other was this blind curve on a back road going to my mill's house. Late night, tons of fog, deer and stupid drivers are common, so I'm going slow. All of a sudden, off to my right, there's this swinging yellowish light. About the right height off the ground for someone to be standing there holding it. Problem is, no one was there. I pulled up level with it and in an instant, it was gone. Nothing to reflect my lights was there, and nothing to mimic the movement. I got out, searched, nothing. I even went back up the road a bit and drove down again to see if I could recreate it. Nothing. Turns out, 2 sisters died there. A rather well-to-do family-owned land in the area in the boonies. Big estate, lots of acreage, nothing else around at the time. They took the curve too hard one night in their carriage and crashed. One sister died on impact. The other survived long enough to walk up and down the road, waving her lantern for anyone to see. They found her footprints all over in the morning, and her clutching the lantern. She was dead too. Locals have been known to see her lantern, but not her. Just that light, going back and forth. Sent chills down my spine when I heard that.